Welcome to this new Addon Spotlight. In this Addon Spotlight we're gonna fly over multiple parts of France, especially the part of Normandy. There are some nice add-ons available for that, for that part of the country. All have to do a little bit with World War II, right? So you can see them already on the map, right? So you can see the Musée du d'Embarquement Utah. Right, so we need to fly a little bit lower. As you can see, we're flying a little bit too high to see it really clear. So let's do that. So let's make some movements. You can see the point of interest already being added to the map, right? You can see the white dots, which are showing the point of interest. So we're gonna reduce our altitude a bit. Currently, we're flying pretty high. Move circles around the Musée du d'Embarquement Utah while reducing the speed. Should be somewhere around there, right? So actually it's a little bit behind us as it looks like. We want to avoid making too steep corners, right? And also decrease our speed too fast, because that's not good. Want to go just below the clouds. You can see multiple points of interest are also there in the, I would say, right in front of us, right? So as part of the add-ons, there are 3 add-ons. There's one specifically for the Normandy part, there's one for the Oklahoma beach, and there's another one for June beach. And you can install all of them. All of them are adding, I would say, specific buildings, right? It's not that they, I would say, completely revamp the complete coast. It's just that they, I would say, modified certain parts of the coast. Or added, for example, certain buildings, like in this case, there's the museum which has been added, the museum. So this will probably be our last cycle. Although we can decrease a little bit further because we're now roughly around 9,000 feet. Just want to drop below 5,000 feet, right? Before we're gonna do that. So we're gonna, say, stop with turning around and then fly a little bit straight on. As you can see, I've set up a map on the using the built-in flight simulator flight planner. It's easier than simply flying around and searching for the point of interests. Weather is pretty nice, not too sunny, not too cloudy. So I'm gonna make the turn again to the custom, I would say, point. And then we're gonna decrease altitude further, and then we're gonna fly over the Musée du Embarquement Utah. push our speed a bit. Because we're going into overspeed, that's also not what we want, of course. Here's the museum, but you can see that we're still a little bit too high. But I don't want to go into overspeed, which we're already going almost. So let's look from the other side, right? We can always look from this angle, and I would say use this nice drone view to have a closer look. Here we go. There's the museum, the embankment, right? So you can see it's let me zoom in or go down a little bit further. Here we have it, right? So you can see it's pretty nicely, I would say, modeled. It's pretty close to the sea. And we're flying also pretty fast, so it's the middle of, I would say, steering back. So let's go back to the aircraft in that case, and let's make our turns. Our next waypoint is one of the churches. I'm going to go inside the aircraft again. It's right in front of us, as you can see. I'm gonna try to reduce our altitude a little bit further, right? Initially thought 5,000 is okay, but let's try to decrease to 3,000 or maybe even lower, because then we can see all the nice details which have been added by these add-ons. Keep in mind that these add-ons are still, I would say, in progress, right? Some of them are already version 1.0, but there's still some work which is being done, some fixes being added. So in total there are 3 add-ons. One is the Normandy pack, one is the Oklahoma Beach, and the third one is the June Beach, which has been released recently. All of them can be combined together. So here we've got the Sainte Marie du Mont Church. As you can see, really nicely detailed, all kind of details being added compared to the normal, I would say, buildings in that corner. So we're gonna make a turn back to the, I would say, coastline. And also try not to decrease our speed too much, or decrease our altitude, I should say, too much. And of course also the speed, we should keep an eye on it. So if you want to do a nice flight, then probably starting at the northern part or southern part of France and then fly to the coastline with a small aircraft, I would say would give you a nice entertainment and nice views. So let's go outside, right? So here you can see it's really nice. Flying above the water, as you can see. And there's the coastline. Making some turns. And then flying back over the country to our next point of interest. can see the sea is pretty wild, right? You can see a lot of, I would say, white spaces from the Gulf, or from the Gulfs. Pilot is sitting back and relaxing, enjoying the flight. You can see the nice sun. Bottom view of the aircraft. You can see it's a little bit windy, right? So it pushes the aircraft a little bit, so we need to make some small corrections in some cases. And we're on our way to the next one. And the next waypoint is located here. Well, that's the Oklahoma beach. And then we end up at June Beach, which is a little bit further. Of course, what you can also do is, I would say, simply follow the coastline itself, right? So simply not follow the lines which are on a VFR map, but simply follow the coastlines and then have a look from that angle. Some nice church buildings there, as you can see. Piece of weird water there. Doesn't look like normal, to be honest. I'm not sure what it is. And looks like it was a loading error, because now it has been corrected. Some turbulence. You can see how steep the rocks are, right? So they're, I would say, really, the coastline is really, you'd say, sharp, right? If we would go, let's say, a little bit further. Need to do it like this. You can see how steep the rocks are. Right, steep rocks, and then you've got the beaches. Almost at our next waypoint. So let's see what we can find there. Meantime, we're going inside the aircraft again. You can see in the, I would say, further down the line, you can already see the next bullet, white bullet point, right? Which is the June Beach. Becomes a little bit more windy, as you can see. The aircraft is, I would say, being pushed down a bit, up and down. So let's look from the bottom. One thing to remember is that in some cases add-ons are requiring additional ones. For example, adding people or flags, that those would require, I would say, additional add-ons compared to the add-on as provided. For June Beach, that's definitely, I would say, applicable. For the other ones, I don't think it's applicable. but keep that in mind. Read the release notes correctly and follow the installation instructions. Else might result in the add-ons not working fully. So here we've got the Oklahoma beach add-on here below us. And we're continuing our trip to Juno Beach, which is a little bit more north. Actually, it's not more north, it's more east, if I'm correct. Move a little bit more over the water so that we can look from the seaside. You can see that the wind is pretty hard, it looks like. And here you can see a good example of how steep the the coastline is. Switch on GPS tracking. A harbor below us. Not so many ships, but probably the ships which are down there are pretty nice. Then we've got there the long Sumer battery, which is also part of the add-ons. So as you can see, they've added multiple parts to the coastline, which you can, I would say, visit by flying either a modern airplane, but you can of course also download or buy one of the old aircrafts and use that. For example, you could consider buying the Spitfire, for example. So let's try to look from a little bit more closer. Not too close, of course. Here we've got the long Sumer battery. And then we're up to Mulberry Harbor, which is located over there. This looks like all parts of, let's say, World War II, right? You can see that the frames per second is, I would say, impacted a little bit by it. It's not as fluent as it was before. And then we're on our way to the last waypoint, which is Juno Beach. Just gonna drop the altitude a bit. I think the only enhancements which I could make to those, I would say, add-ons is, I would say, placing point of interest correctly, because I do think that not all point of interest are placed correctly. I would say in the large Normandy pack that's the case, but in the other two I'm not 100% sure about that. So here we are at Juno Beach, according to the flight simulator map. So this is also where this, I would say, spotlight add-on or add-on spotlight ends. We looked at several add-ons which have been added as part of the Normandy, let's say, add-on packs, which are available for Flight Simulator. In total, there are now 3 add-on packs which add a lot of additional waypoints to the Normandy coastline, which are all related to World War II, where I'd say heavy fighting took place in front of this coastline. So if you're interested in, I would say, the history, right, in World War II, in the history of everything which happened, this might be something which you want to give a try. So you can fly across the French coastline, visit all those buildings, and I would say point of interest which all have to do with World War II. This is where this add-on spotlight ends. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you have feedback then or questions, then use the comment box below the video. In the description of the video you can find all the download links for the add-ons, which are completely free on Flight Simulator 2. And if you like to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.